जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय श्री श्री राधा माधव की जय श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत गौरी वैष्णव वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नस्तप्रयेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we welcome all devotees to the first Srimad Bhagvatam program of the year, and it's so nice to see that we don't have enough space. It's a very nice feeling. Seeking the blessings of my seniors, His Grace Sudarshan Prabhu, Balakrishnan Prabhu, I can't see the other devotees, Kandar Prakoti Prabhu, who are all so nice and advanced devotees, and seeking the blessings of all the Vaishnavas assembled today and the Vaishnavis, so that we will not say anything wrong or offensive in the course of our discussion. Today's verse is a verse from the first canto, 16th chapter, 16th verse. It is a very beautiful verse, and it teaches us three very important principles in Krishna consciousness. Three things that we should think about very carefully if we want to make advancement in our devotional service. Let's chant the verse first. Saratya para sadasevana sakya dhautya Virasanānugamana stavana pranama Snigdeshu pandushu jagat pranatim cha Vishnu Bhaktim karoti nripates charanāravinde Saratya para sadasevana sakya dhautya Virasanānugamana stavana pranama Snigdeshu pandushu jagat pranatim cha Vishnu Bhaktim karoti nripates charanāravinde Saratya para sadasevana sakya dhautya Virasanānugamana stavana pranama Snigdeshu pandushu jagat pranatim cha Vishnu Bhaktim karoti nripates charanāravinde Prabhus. Saratya para sadasevana sakya dhautya Virasanānugamana stavana pranama Snigdeshu pandushu jagat pranatim cha Vishnu Bhaktim karoti nripates charanāravinde Saratya para sadasevana sakya dhautya Virasanānugamana stavana pranama Snigdeshu pandushu jagat pranatim cha Vishnu Bhakti karoti nripate charanarvinde. Vaishnavis. Saratya Parasada Sevana Sakya Daudya Virasana Gamanastavana Pranama Srikeshu Pandushu Jagat Pranatim Cha Vishnu Bhaktim Karoti Nripate Charanarvinde. Please repeat the synonyms. Saratya, acceptance of the post of a chariot driver. Parasada, acceptance of the presidency in the assembly of the Rajasuya sacrifice. Sevana, engaging the mind constantly in the service of the Lord. Sakya, to think of the Lord as a friend. Dautya, acceptance of the post of a messenger. Vira asana, acceptance of the post of a watchman with a drawn sword at night. Anugamana, following in the footsteps. Stavana, offering of prayers. Pranaman, offering obeisances. Snigdheshu, unto them who are malleable to the will of the Lord. Pandushu, unto the sons of Pandu. Jagat, the universal. Pranatim, one who is obeyed. Cha, and Vishnu, of Vishnu. Bhakti, devotion. Karoti, does. Nripatehi, the king. Charana Aravinde, unto his lotus feet. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Please repeat the translation. Maharaj Parikshit heard that out of his causeless mercy, Lord Krishna, Vishnu, who is universally obeyed, rendered all kinds of service to the malleable sons of Pandu by accepting posts ranging from chariot driver to president to messenger, friend, night watchman, etc., according to the will of the Pandavas, obeying them like a servant and offering obeisances like one younger in years. When he heard this, Maharaj Parikshit became overwhelmed with devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord. Please hear the purport. Lord Krishna is everything to the unalloyed devotees like the Pandavas. The Lord was for them the Supreme Lord, the spiritual master, the worshipable deity, the guide, the chariot driver, the friend, the servant, the messenger, and everything they could conceive of. And thus the Lord also reciprocated the feelings of the Pandavas. Maharaj Parikshit, as a pure devotee of the Lord, could appreciate the Lord's transcendental reciprocation of the feelings of his devotees. And thus he himself also was overwhelmed with the dealings of the Lord. Simply by appreciating the dealings of the Lord with his pure devotees, one can attain salvation. Simply by appreciating the dealings of the Lord with his pure devotees, one can attain salvation. The Lord's dealings with his devotees appear to be ordinary human dealings, but one who knows them in truth becomes at once eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. The Pandavas were so malleable to the will of the Lord that they could sacrifice any amount of energy for the service of the Lord. And by such unalloyed determination, they could secure the Lord's mercy in any shape they desired. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथं विततं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गे राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरे तुषे नमः। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So this verse gives us very nice points. But before we can see the points, we should really appreciate this verse in the context of what is happening. This chapter is entitled How Parikshit Received the Age of Kali. In other words, Parikshit Maharaj was actually at the point of time in such a way that Kali Yuga had already entered into his kingdom. And so he had to take very strong steps to make sure that Kali would not be so rampant that the citizens would not be protected. Now, how Parikshit Maharaj received the age of Kali is very important, because if he did not receive Kali the way it has been received, we will not have the benefit of having Bhagavatam today. So many people say, why did Parikshit Maharaj allow Kali to continue living? He should have killed him. But the point is, Parikshit Maharaj was a pure devotee of the Lord, and he always understood and was subordinate to the will of the Lord. And that is the word that's being used in the verse today, 1:16:16. You will see in the purport and the word to word, there is a word known as Snigdeshu. Snigdeshu is a very important word that is found in this shloka. And Snigdeshu actually means, let me see, where is it? Snigdeshu means unto them who are malleable to the will of the Lord. The word malleable is a very important word in Krishna consciousness. What it means is that we are not stubborn. Sometimes the living entity is very stubborn in their own thinking and their convictions. We are not ready to be able to be flexible. We are not ready to be malleable, to be molded. Once we think in a certain way, we don't change. So the opposite of malleable is to be unnecessarily stubborn. And sometimes devotees, if we are not careful, we take a certain view of certain things. And no matter how much advice is given to us, how much directions is given to us, how much even the words of Shastras are given to us, still we don't want to hear. We only want to do what we want to do. That kind of thinking doesn't give us the quality of Snigdeshu. The reason why Parikshit Maharaj is a pure devotee is because of this quality. The more we are malleable to the will of the Lord. The will of the Lord also means the will of his devotees. Please don't forget that. The Lord and his devotees cannot be separated. And very often, 11:34 Bhagavad Gita tells us that if one cannot understand the plan of the Lord, then one can understand the plan of the Lord by hearing his devotees. Because the words of the great devotees of the Lord are always in alignment with the Lord. So Parikshit Maharaj was hearing about the greatness of Krishna, but he was hearing about the greatness of Krishna in relation to the Pandavas. That was what he was hearing. And the Pandavas were not only related to Parikshit Maharaj as his uncles, but more importantly, they were exalted pure devotees. And therefore Parikshit Maharaj saw them as his Siksha Gurus. And that's a very important point in Bhagavatam. So we must understand that this year we should meditate on this word Snigdeshu. What does Snigdeshu mean? It means that we are ready to move with the will of the Lord. Very often we spend hours and hours and time and so much of days and months wasting our time speculating over things which we have no control over, simply because we cannot accept the will of the Lord. We want to test it and test it and test it. The more we try to do that without understanding His will, the more unmalleable we become. And the more unmalleable we become, the less we advance in devotional service. The whole purpose of our coming together is so that we can all aim to advance in our devotional service. Srila Prabhupada set the standards for all of us. His desire is that every member of this society should become a pure devotee of the Lord. A pure devotee of the Lord is not a highly ranked person like we see in the material world. A pure devotee of the Lord is the minimum that we should finally be, because that is what Krishna wants all of us to be. So we should not have this idea that purity is very far away, because if we keep thinking that way, we will never make plans to advance in our Krishna consciousness. And that is very important. Very often, year after year, we get stuck in the same space of our Krishna consciousness. We don't make efforts to actually move, because we think, let me continue with my chanting, let me continue with a bit of reading, and somewhere along the line I will improve. But that doesn't make us malleable to the will of the Lord. So this point is very important. As Maharaj Parikshit was traveling, because he heard that Kali had come, he was moving in his kingdom. And as he was moving in his kingdom, he heard, this is a very important point, whenever we want to hear about Krishna, we always hear about Krishna, not very often from Krishna himself, but always from the devotees of Krishna. And whenever we want to make advancement in devotional service, the first thing we have to do is to hear. Sometimes people listen to us, but they don't hear us. Hearing is very important. I'm listening to you, but am I hearing? Am I absorbing what you say? That is the difference. So Maharaj Parikshit heard that out of the causeless mercy of Krishna, this is the first point that we are talking about, Krishna's causeless mercy. So Maharaj Parikshit heard from everyone that Krishna had great mercy and his mercy was causeless. What is the meaning of causeless? Causeless is a very important word to be used, because you never see in Bhagavatam and Shastras just mercy of Krishna. Mercy is always accompanied by the word causeless mercy. The word causeless and mercy put together actually means one who is not deserving of something, but who gets it nevertheless. That is causeless mercy of Krishna. Therefore, we should not think when we perform our devotional service that because we are performing it, Krishna must be merciful to us. That is a wrong thinking in devotional service. We should seriously think that why should it be that Krishna should be merciful to us? Because we don't deserve His mercy. We have not worked hard enough. We have not dedicated ourselves to the point where we should actually think we deserve Krishna's mercy. A real devotee never thinks he is deserving of Krishna's mercy. A real devotee genuinely believes that Krishna's mercy is causeless and it is given to him or her even though we are worthless. That is the mood of Sikshashtakam. That is the mood of Mahaprabhu. So the word causeless is very important. Another line, now we go further in the line. Krishna, it has a word here that he is described as. He is described as Jagat Pranati. Jagat Pranati. In other words, Krishna has one quality. Krishna is universally obeyed. Right? He is universally obeyed. Now this is actually connected very much to the mercy of the Lord. Because the mercy of the Lord is so great that actually Krishna doesn't have to give us mercy. Even then, he is still very, very powerful. That is why whatever mercy he gives us is always like a shower of rain. Very cooling, very soothing. If someone else, a living entity, gives us mercy, we may appreciate it for a while, but we cannot relish it like the way it is given by Krishna. Why? Because Krishna is so powerful. He is Jagat Pranati. He is one who is universally obeyed. The devotees of the Lord, they readily obey Krishna, isn't it? Actually, it depends on the level of our devotional service. In the beginning of our devotional service, Mahaprabhu says when we are Kanishta Adhikaris. Kanishta Adhikaris means we only see Krishna in the deity, but we cannot see him in the devotees. We criticize devotees, we find fault with devotees, we gossip about devotees, we speak behind them. Therefore, we are Kanishta actually. We are not Madhyama and we are definitely not Uttama. If any one of us is engaging in such activities, then we know where we stand, right? Doesn't matter whether you're young, you're old, you're senior, you're junior, it doesn't matter. But if you're indulging in these activities, then we are not considered to be really Madhyama or Uttama Adhikaris. We are Kanishtas. So for those who cannot obey Krishna, Krishna forces them to obey. How? By the force of time. Sometimes you want to go against the will of Krishna. So many great demons went against the will of Krishna. But in the force of time, they were forced to be subdued by Krishna. Isn't it true? Kamsa, for so many years, he terrorized the whole world. His whole kingdom he was terrorizing. Put his father into jail, tried to kill his sister, took all the children, killed them all, because he thought that he was supreme. But ultimately, the will of the Lord prevailed. So if we do not want to obey Krishna out of love and devotion, we will have to obey him out of the force of time. In the 3rd canto, 26th chapter, if you read that chapter, 26 and 29, you'll find that, there's no need to go into that, Prabhu. You'll find one very important thing. You'll find that towards the end of these chapters, Kapila Dev tells his mother that Krishna is so powerful that the wind blows out of fear of him. The sun shines out of fear of him. All the different elements are moving. All the planets are orbiting out of fear of Krishna. This is why Krishna is Jagat Pranati. So this is why Krishna is universally obeyed. Sometimes we think, how can he be universally obeyed? The demons are not obeying him. Universally obeyed means whether you like it or not, I will force you to obey. That is Krishna. So either we bow down before Krishna out of our own endeavors and humility, or Krishna will force us to bow before him. We should not be in that situation. We should always be in a situation where we are ready to bow before Krishna. Sometimes even devotees don't want to bow before Krishna. Bowing before Krishna doesn't mean we're not bowing before Jagannath. We're all bowing before Jagannath. But the real bowing is, are you prepared to listen to his will? If Krishna doesn't want something to happen, why are you going against his will? You have tried and nothing is happening. Still you want to try. Then you are forced by Krishna to universally obey him. You see the point? So this is Krishna in all his glory and all his power. We should never test Krishna. Please don't test Krishna. Because if you test Krishna, instead of something coming out the way you want it to, believe me, by Shastras, it will turn out much worse than you think it is. Because you think you have a material solution to a material problem. But you know, Prahlad Maharaj has said, Dukkha-aushadam tadapi dukkha matadhyayam. When you try to solve a material problem with a material solution, the material solution is very often worse than the material problem. So we should not do that. So Krishna is universally obeyed. But now, even though he is so powerful, even though he is universally obeyed, whether people want to or not, now Parikshit Maharaj is thinking, still Krishna is so merciful that he rendered all kinds of services to the Pandavas. Generally, if you hear from Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, right? I think it's 6th or 7th verse. Savai pumsam paro dharmo, yathor bhakti radok saje, ahaituki apratihata, yayatma suprasidati. Krishna, Shukadev Goswami says that actually our supreme occupational duty is to render devotional service to the Supreme. In other words, we are supposed to render service to Krishna. And that service must be ahaituki apratihata. There must be no motivation to that service. And there must be no interruption because there's no motivation. Only when we do that do we actually become satisfied. So think about it. If we are now performing devotional service in that mood, then in any material situation we are, our mind will not disturb us. You see the point? If your mind is disturbing you, the reason for it is not someone else, it is not your friend, your family, your employer, it is not all these things. The reason why your mind is disturbed is because your motivation to perform devotional service is not correct. It is not correct. There is some designation, there is some ulterior motive, and that is why we are disturbed, right? You know, just by seeing the faces of devotees, we can come to tell who is peaceful, who is disturbed. Just by seeing the faces, we come to know the sadhana, we come to know what is in their mind, what is not in their mind. Because we cannot hide these things. We cannot hide them. So even though Bhagavatam tells us that Krishna is so powerful that our duty is to render service to him, in 1:16:16, we understand that Krishna is causelessly merciful to his devotees in such a way that he can render service. And to the Pandavas specifically, what service he rendered. Look at all the things he did here. First of all, he accepted different services. The word post is there, but post means actually services. Because it's not like he was accepting a post in the sense that he was a very high person. Read the kinds of things he did. Krishna became a chariot driver. He became a chariot driver to Arjuna. Chariot driver is considered the lowest position, menial position in war. And a chariot driver has a thankless task. Because I've told you this many times, chariot drivers don't have the luxury of being told, Krishna, can you please turn right? Can you please turn left? Take a detour, speed up, slow down. No. Krishna would be kicked on his right blade, on his left blade, in the center, because there was no time for Arjuna to communicate these things to Krishna. But Krishna accepted it. Every time Krishna was kicked, every time Krishna performed menial service, it was like the devotees were offering garlands to him. Just like this garland of roses is so soft, Krishna did not feel the hard kicks of Arjuna as hard. He felt them like the petals of roses because of the mood in which Krishna accepted this service. You see it? So sometimes we must learn from Krishna. Sometimes when we take up a service, we become so disturbed by the service because our mood is all wrong. That is why we are disturbed. Nothing wrong with the service. Everything is wrong with our attitude. Prabhupada writes in the Preface of Nectar of Instruction that it is one's attitude that determines one's advancement in devotional service. If our attitude to devotional service is not correct, then advancement is not there. We'll just sit there and be very happy, I'm devotee. By name we are, by designation we are, but by behavior we are not. So that is why, see Krishna, he became a chariot driver. Then he became a president of the assembly of the Rajasuya sacrifice. You may think president is very exalted, but if you read Krishna book, you realize being a president was a very difficult task because there were so many naysayers who were against the Pandavas and particularly against Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Krishna had a very difficult time in the Rajasuya assembly. Then Krishna became messenger. That's another very, very lowly post. Because messenger means he has to run here and there. And what was he a messenger for? He became a messenger for the Pandavas to go over to Hastinapur and to meet the Kauravas and to tell them, please, the Pandavas, they only want a very, very, very small portion of land. Right? Right at the tip of the hair. That's all we want. We don't even want more. That was the message Krishna had to send to the Kauravas. And therefore, in doing so, he had to try to mediate. But even then, the Kauravas were so rude to Krishna. They were so haltingly proud to Krishna that Duryodhana famously said, I will not even part with even, right, a little bit, not even a tip of the hair will I even part. All the Pandavas wanted were 5 villages, that's all. If you are in India, you know 5 villages is nothing, right? It's nothing, especially for someone as exalted as the Pandavas. But Duryodhana said, no, not even the tip of my hair. That much land I can give you. I can't. And Arjuna was not there to be the messenger. Krishna was the messenger. You see the point? So Krishna had to hear that. And he came back like a simple, humble messenger. That's all he did. Then the next pose he took was he was a friend. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead being a friend is not ordinary. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is held in awe and reverence by all 3 worlds. He is independent, and yet he gave his friendship freely to Krishna and the Pandavas. And then I really like this one. Not only was he a watchman, but if you read the word-to-word transliteration, Prabhupada translates as Veera Asana. He accepted the post of a watchman, but he drew a sword and held the sword all through the night. What a detail Prabhupada gives actually. It's one thing to be a watchman outside, sitting there. Nowadays, watchmen, you don't really have to work very hard. You just sit there and that's it, finish, right? Mostly watchmen are retired people. I always used to think, why are retired people watchmen? If there was a thief, right, these people cannot do anything. They'll be the first ones to die of a heart attack because they're old. But Krishna was not that kind of a watchman. Krishna was a watchman who held a sword and he was standing outside with a sword. Imagine that. Imagine. And that means Krishna never went to sleep. Of course, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He doesn't have to sleep. He's making good use of his time. But even then, he doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to do this. I think I told you this, right? Whenever I think of night watchman, I think of the night watchman in Rajkot temple. The night watchman in Rajkot temple will appear sharp during Mangalarti time. He's always there. But before that, he's sleeping very soundly. And whenever we ask him, we keep telling him we want to fire him. But he's been with us for 25 years now? The only reason why we don't fire him is his answer, you see. He says, why should I not sleep? Krishna is protecting himself. I don't have to worry. I sleep very well. In the morning I wake up for Mangalarti and he's the only one in Mangalarti who's dancing. Everybody else is like a zombie, but he's dancing. Because he's had good sleep. This is Krishna's mercy. You see? So therefore Krishna himself became a watchman. And so Prabhupada is writing, Shukadev Goswami, Arjuna, Shukadev Goswami is writing this to show us how intimate, how personal is Krishna with his devotees. And see, after the description, what is the most important line after the description? Etc. After etc., that means there were many other posts, many other services that Krishna took, but there's no space in the verse. And then Shukadev Goswami says something very important here. Krishna did all these services according to the will of the Pandavas. He didn't do it against the will of the Pandavas. He didn't do it according to his will. He did it according to the will of the devotees. This is how we make advancement in devotional service. We very often cannot make advancement because we do something according to our will. A classic example is a disciple who approaches a spiritual master. Actually, the disciple has made up his mind what to do, what they want to do. Then they will come up to the spiritual master and say, Maharaj, if you don't mind, I'm seeking your instructions. I need your guidance. So the spiritual master says, what's your guidance? What's the question? They give a question. Now when they give the question, after giving the question, they don't ask for directions. They ask for blessings. Do you know how sneaky that is? Think about it. Very often devotees approach us. They say, Prabhu, we want to do this. We ask for blessings. Actually, they want to do it. It doesn't matter. But what they want is endorsement. Just endorse that what I do will be okay. If you sanction it, well, then nobody can say it's wrong. That's cheating. That's cheating propensity. Because you're not interested in hearing whether what you're going to do is right or wrong. You're just interested in doing whatever you want. And then you come to the devotee and say, seeking your blessings, seeking your blessings. There is no blessings there. If you want blessings, you go according to the will of the Lord. You go according to the will of the devotees. If you respect the devotee as your siksha, as your diksha, then when they tell you don't do something, you be malleable to their will. The word is malleable. You follow. You learn to crush your own false ego. Otherwise, we just do whatever we want. Sometimes we say we have a Diksha Guru, but we go to Guru just for blessings to do whatever we want. We're not interested in hearing. Srila Prabhupada gave a good example in his Leelamrita actually. One time Srila Prabhupada asked for water. His disciple went inside and got milk for Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, I asked for water. Disciple said, no, milk is better. Prabhupada said, if a spiritual master asks for water, that's exactly what he wants. If you get him milk, that's not what he wants. That is not according to his will. That is according to your will. Do you see the point? There is a difference. So remember, this year, don't come and ask devotees for blessings to do whatever you want to do. If you want to ask for blessings, then you be prepared to move according to the will of Guru, Sadhu and Sastra. Otherwise, don't ask. No point. Don't ask for endorsements. Because you can't cheat Krishna, you see. You can cheat the devotee, but you can't cheat Krishna. So that is why Krishna is so powerful that he went according to the will of the Pandavas. Even though he is Supreme Absolute Truth, he is Sachit Ananda Vigraha, he is completely independent, and yet he was ready to follow the will of the devotees. Why can't we, who are not independent, not supreme, not absolute, not Supreme Absolute Truth, not Sachit Ananda Vigraha, we can't follow the will of the Lord, neither can we follow the will of the devotees. That is where our advancement in devotional service is checked. This is a very important point. Then how did Krishna follow the will of the Pandavas? By obeying them like a servant. This is the mood of a devotee. A devotee's mood is that of a servant. That is the mood. The Lord is showing in this verse how we should actually behave. A servant doesn't tell his master what to do, isn't it? The servant always is ready to do what the master wants. And yet if the master is kind, the master will say, you tell me what you want. And that's what Krishna did. Krishna could do that with the Pandavas because the Pandavas never took advantage of Krishna's mercy. This is very important. Sometimes, if we are not careful, we take the advantage of Krishna's mercy and we push for more and more and more. Supposing Krishna has already saved us from a very difficult situation, we should be grateful to him and move on with our devotional service. But we can't. We want more, and we want more, and we want more. Remember one thing, whatever that is with us now is needed. Whatever that is not with us now is wanted. If you run after the wants, you will become frustrated. If you are satisfied with your needs, you will be peaceful. And that is why Krishna was so much obedient to the Pandavas. Because the Pandavas' nature was that they never asked anything from Krishna. 13 years in exile, 1 year of that incognito. Did they ever ask Krishna in the whole of Mahabharata, Krishna, take us out of this exile. Krishna, you can take us out of all this. Krishna, if you wanted, right, you can decimate the whole Kauravas and give us all our lands. Did they ever ask even one time? Any one of the 5 even? None of them did that. Never. Why? Because they were ready to follow the will of Krishna. If they were made to go to the forest in exile, they did not blame Krishna. They saw it as the will of Krishna. And because they did that, Krishna was malleable to their will. This is a very important point we must remember. The devotee is conquered by the Lord, and the Lord conquers the devotee. Look at 6:16-34 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So beautiful verse And it tells us the relationship between the Pandavas and Krishna. The verse is really nice. The translation is really good. Chitraketu said, O unconquerable Lord, although you cannot be conquered by anyone, you are certainly conquered by devotees who have control of the mind and the senses. This is the qualification of the Pandavas. The Pandavas, they directed their mind and their senses to the service of Krishna. What is that phrase? Rishikena Rishikesha. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. Bhaktir Uchyate. That is the definition of bhakti. That whatever senses they had and their mind, they directed it to the will of the Lord. Krishna, whatever you want, I will use my mind and my senses. It's not what I want that matters. It's what you want that matters. This is very important. Then see what they say. They can keep you under their control because you are causelessly merciful to devotees who desire no material profit from you. Indeed, you give yourself to them. And because of this, you also have full control over your devotees. The translation is beautiful, but the first paragraph of the purport is even better because it's all Prabhupada. See what Prabhupada says. The Lord and the devotees both conquer. The Lord is conquered by the devotees and the devotees are conquered by the Lord. Because of their being conquered by one another, they both derive transcendental bliss from their relationship. Imagine, in material world, if I try to conquer you, you try to conquer me, you think we are in transcendental bliss? We are not. We are fighting with each other. That's what's happening. We are very disturbed. If supposing I think my service is better, you conquer me with a better service, then we are in competition. We are not happy with each other. Supposing I put flower decoration now for Nityananda Trayodasi, then you come Gaur Purnima and you do something else. Then I come for Nasinare Chaturdasi and I do something better. Then in that competition, we are looking at the flowers but we are forgetting Krishna. That is the problem. That is the problem. Because of designation, Upadhi. Upadhi means designation. The Pandavas had no Upadhis. They had no material designation. They were just ready to follow what Krishna wanted, and because of that, Krishna became malleable to their will. And because Krishna was malleable to their will, they became malleable to the will of Krishna. Snigdeshu. So therefore, Snigdeshu here is not only referring to the Pandavas. If you read 6:16:34, Snigdeshu also refers to Krishna. To Krishna also. And this is how they reciprocate with one another. So this is the point that is being given here. You see, when you see the devotees of the Lord, the Pandavas were ready to move with Krishna's will. There are so many devotees who did that. Pundarik is another example. You all have been to Panduranga Vittala? Some of you may have gone to see the beautiful form of the Lord, isn't it? And you know that the devotee Pundarik, he was so powerful in his devotion for Krishna, right, that because he was serving his parents so nicely, when Krishna came, because Krishna was so impressed by his piety, he told Krishna, Krishna, just wait for a while. I have to serve my parents. After I serve my parents, then I will serve you. So Krishna was very, very impressed because Krishna felt that he was so devoted in his service to his parents. So what did Pundarik do? He threw him a brick and he told him to stand on the brick. And after standing on the brick, he is known as Vittala, right? Vit means brick actually in Marathi. So Vittala is one who is standing on the brick. See how malleable Krishna was to the will of Pundarik. Because Pundarik had nothing in his heart. Srimati Radharani, for example, if you read all the pastimes of Krishna, who is Srimati Radharani? What is her position? Did she